Today is actually my birthday, and usually you get gifts on your birthday, but I feel like giving you a gift. This is the latest version of MacroLab, which is an online Fusion macro editor that I released last week. And I've already gotten a lot of suggestions on how to make it better. One of them was, I knew this was coming. I knew people were going to ask for this, was the ability to export as a DRFX. And one thing led to the next, and I kind of overhauled the entire app. So now it's not just a macro builder, but it's a macro manager. It's a DRFX exporter, a DRFX importer. We'll get to that in a little bit. But for now, let me just jump right in. So here you can see I already have this really simple title loaded up. And over here at the top, this is the standard macro export menu, but now there's this new DRFX page. And when you switch into this, the entire export page changes. So from here, what you can do is give this a name. Let's just be really creative and call it first DRFX. And then I'm going to click add current macro to queue. And from here, I can choose if this is going to be a title, effect generator, or transition. You can also switch if you want it to be a group or a macro. You can also click this to add a thumbnail. So I could go ahead and export this single template, but the nice thing about DRFX is it's a bundle. So I could add more to this. Now you can just simply drag and drop a .setting file straight into the paste box up here. And maybe I want some default text. And then we'll add this. And you can also drag and drop your thumbnail right onto the picture like this. And let's go ahead and grab another title and let's just copy. And I'm just going to paste that right in. And I'm just going to go through the process really quickly of just adding a couple controls. And I don't need an input because this is just a title. So I'm going to turn that off. And now I'm just going to add this to queue and rename this to wireframe title. And I actually don't have a thumbnail for this created yet. Usually, what I like to do if I'm moving quickly is pick a good frame that represents the whole thing and kind of zoom in, something like that. And then I'll add a scale just to kind of compress this down to 0.1. So it's really small like this. And then I'm just going to right click in the viewer and save image. So I'm just going to call it WF for wireframe and I'll just drag it right in here. And then I'm going to hit download and this will download the DRFX pack and then install into Resolve. And so now if I come back over here to the edit page, I should see my new Matt McCool folder with all three of my templates. The other cool thing that you can do in MacroLab is re-edit a macro that's already in your queue. So next to the trash can button, which will remove the macro from the queue, there's a little pencil icon. So you can click this to reload it back into the editor, add controls, take away controls, fix a typo, whatever you need to do. In this case, let me go ahead and reload the wireframe. And I'm going to add a separator, which is also new. And let's just separate the shiny controls and the hue slider. Let's also add some labels to this. And another new thing that I've added is this little advanced icon right here next to the sliders, screws, and checkbox controls. This allows you to change the control and also set the minimum maximum. This used to be something that you would hover over and you would only be able to change just the soft ranges. And I also didn't really like how it would jiggle around like this. So I've updated it to now not jiggle around, and you can just click this down and change your control type. You can set a range like -20 to 20, and then maybe we'll set a maximum allowed range to something like -90 to 90. Cool. And then I can click this overwrite button, and then let's re-download that and overwrite inside Resolve. And now if I come over here and just reset, there you can see the controls have changed. I now have a slider control for my X rotation that stops at -20, goes up to +20. And if I try to type in something like 180, it will cap it at 90 because that's what we set for the allowed range and the soft range. Now I want to show you something else that I think is pretty cool. So this preset right here has some built-in textures. Okay, so there's this Kodak sheet right here. There's also a paper texture, and all that comes together to create this little in card. This is just like an example. And as you probably already know, whenever you try to save this as a template and share it with somebody else, they will not have these exact files and they won't be in the exact same location on their computer, which means everything's going to break, go offline, and the whole macro just doesn't work. So what I've done is I've created an asset manager built into MacroLab. So check this out. If I copy that macro and we'll just paste it right in here, and you can see it's already pulled in my labels, my controls all look correct. Now, if I add this to the queue, I get this new banner up at the top that says 2 missing assets. And if I click that, it tells me that there's 2 loader nodes that are pointing to an absolute file path, and these will not survive distribution. If I try to share this with somebody else, or if I move these files or change the name, then it will break my macro. So to fix that, I can either browse, or I can go ahead and just drag those right in like this. And the asset manager will automatically rewrite those file paths to a relative file path so that they survive. And now when I download this, it's going to zip those 2 texture files into the DRFX. And now I should have a new folder in my effects library. And there it is with the thumbnail. I can drag it right on. And all my textures have stayed intact. Everything is working correctly. And just to verify, let's open this up and take a look at where it put that file. And you can see it's automatically rewritten this to a relative file path. And just to kind of push this a little further, let me show you, there's a template that I have in here that's got a bunch of built-in images. And if I try to add this one, you can see there's 15 missing files. And if I just try to download this, I'll get this little warning that says, are you sure you want to keep downloading? You can override this and just download it if you know what you're doing, or you want to keep your files, it's just for you. Or you can link the media and you get the same asset manager box here. I can just grab all of these and drop them right in. And now they're all linked. Just going to add my thumbnail, change this to an effect. By the way, you can also toggle these on. You can hold shift and grab a whole selection, or select all if you want to change them, all to a specific category, or if you want to flip them from macro to group. It's very flexible. You can really easily do that. I want both of these to be effects. And so yeah, let's go ahead and try this out. And now you can see this file should be a lot bigger. There it is, 9.1 megabytes, because it's got that media built into it. So let's go ahead and override. There it is. We've got our in card. And if I drop it on, you can see this one has a mock-up of an iPhone. It's got a couple of these like headshots of people. So yeah, all of these are being brought in with a relative file path thanks to the new asset manager inside MacroLab. I did want to show you one more thing, and this is possibly the most exciting part about MacroLab. It's not just an exporter, but you can also import. As you can see here, you can just drag a DRFX file, and in the background, it will unzip your DRFX, assign every macro to the correct category, and apply all of the thumbnails. So this makes it really easy if you want to load in your DRFX and kind of make changes or add more controls later down the road. You can even add more presets to this, and they will combine together into one big DRFX. So yeah, this is rolling out today on my birthday. If you want to support me, support the development of this really cool tool, you can click this little heart button at the top. That's going to take you to my Ko-fi account where you can donate. And yeah, I think that's it. Go make something cool.